guys, today I want to tell you my Trim Healthy Mama testimony. I first heard about Trim Healthy Mama 4.5 years ago, and that was because of my good friend. But prior to that, I had a long history of just struggling with my self-image, my body image, and my weight. And it didn't really matter even what weight I was at. I just didn't really ever feel confident or comfortable in the weight that I was at. So I think I remember my first memories of feeling fat at the age of 11, and that just really carried on into adolescence and through high school and college and being newly married. And I remember that my husband in our early years of being married finally got to the point where he was tired of hearing me complain about feeling fat and the number on the scale. And so he decided that that scale needed to take a boot, and he promptly threw it in the dumpster. So that was early on, and then I moved into the baby years, and I never was the kind that lost weight when I was nursing. In fact, I seemed to gain weight, and then even after I was done nursing, I still had like these 15 pounds that just would not come off. And so, this led to, after my first child, just being really obsessed about my weight, exercising a lot, skipping meals, skimping on meals, not eating very much, and essentially starving myself at times just to try to stay trim. It never seemed to be about nutrition. It was just kind of like food was just necessary, and I was just confused when it came to food, and it was all about losing weight. So I, for a long time, it didn't matter how you lost weight. It didn't matter what kind of abuse it put on my body. I would want to try it. So this went on for years, and I eventually ended up with a bunch of blood sugar issues to where basically hypoglycemic, where I couldn't go after meals without having just kind of that blood sugar drop, and which is really hard when you happen to have a sweet tooth and love sugar. I was not very nice to my family when I would eat sugar. So I knew a long time ago I needed to give up sugar. And it kind of came to a head about 4.5 years ago when I realized that the sugar would, and if you hear my little guy, he's playing upstairs, so just keeping it real. But I realized that I didn't want to be mean to my family anymore because of this blood sugar low that I would have. I would just be really grumpy and pretty not fun to be around. And one day I just cried out to God and said, okay, God, I realize I need to give up sugar, but I have no idea how to, and would you please help me? And so shortly after that, I was on the phone with my dear friend Julie, and I was, at this point, I was about 3 months postpartum with my second son, and I ended up I was dealing with some postpartum depression. I have a long history of dealing with depression, and so I was just, lamenting this hormonal stuff to my friend on the phone, and Julie said, hey, there's this book, and she read me a little excerpt of it, and so I looked it up on Amazon thinking it was mostly a book about balancing your hormones, and realized it was this whole eating plan. So I think at the time there was like 8 reviews, if that, maybe 4 on Amazon about it, and I read the reviews and I decided to order the book. Well, it took me a little while to get going on Trim Healthy Mama because at the time I lived out in Bush, Alaska, and so to get everything I needed to do the plan, I had to either order it online or wait until the next trip into Anchorage. Living in a bush community in Alaska means there are no roads in and out of town, and so the only way to get to your village is by airplane, and the only way to get out is by airplane. So I ended up having to wait a few months to get everything I needed to be able to really do Trim Healthy Mama. But I know that, I started reading the book and I was able to implement some of this stuff because you can do it without special ingredients. So I think my first snack was a deli meat roll-up, and I was like, ooh, I'm doing it. I'm eating the Trim Healthy Mama way. It looks like someone wants to join the video. Come here, buddy. When I sit on Mama's lap, you can eat your snack. So I started my Trim Healthy Mama journey. You know, I was still nursing, and I ended up doing Trim Healthy Mama after that for over 3.5 years. And during that time, I lost about 10 pounds, but there was another 15 to 20 pounds that I really wanted to get off. And it was really frustrating because I couldn't get past that 10 pounds. And it was especially frustrating because I love THM. I knew it was how I was supposed to be eating for my blood sugar. And I told other people about it and taught them how to do it. But I wasn't seeing the results that I was hoping for. You know, I'm seeing on the Facebook group all these women that are just, you know, losing just drastic amounts of weight, and I was getting really frustrated. Well, so for, you know, over these 3.5 years, I just got really frustrated, and last summer I ended up, so it was just under a year ago, I decided that I was going to try counting calories again. So I was still implementing a lot of Trim Healthy Mama. Pull it out. I was still implementing a lot of Trim Healthy Mama stuff, but I decided to count calories and exercise and work out a lot. And at the end of the summer, I was asking my friend Kelly what scale that she owned, because I felt like God had been doing some, you know, healing in my life with the emotional stuff, and I thought maybe I could own a scale again. And so I asked her what scale she had, and so she ended up getting me the scale for my birthday, and which I was not offended by. And I decided, you know, the next morning I got on the scale, the morning after my 35th birthday, and my weight had not budged at all, and I was so discouraged. So you know, my little guy is running around down here in our living room, and I'm sitting on the stairway of my house, and I just like had this all out, you know, ugly cry where, you know, your face is a mess, and I just really admitted defeat at that point, and I cried out to God and just asked Him to show me if He wanted me to just accept the weight that I was at. And that maybe I had this goal in my mind, but maybe that wasn't what I should have. Maybe I would just feel uncomfortable the rest of my life in the weight that I was at. So, well, you know, after I had this big long cry, and admitting to God that I really couldn't control the number on the scale, that I could do everything perfectly and not see results. So, you know, that if He wanted me to lose weight, that He would have to help me and give me the strength to do it. Or if He wanted me to accept my weight, that He would have to help me do that too. And then, you know, I had this still small voice, I heard this still small voice say, try doing THM and do it without cheating. So I had done THM pretty diligently at times, but a lot of times I was kind of, you know, still eating cereal at night or thinking I was doing THM but cheating a lot. And so I decided to do it, you know, for a day and without cheating and get on the scale and see what would happen. So I did THM for a day without cheating, and the following morning I got on the scale and I had lost a pound. I couldn't believe it. So, and this is, you know, before I got on the scale, I thought, well, maybe I'm just going to see that Trim Healthy Mama doesn't work with my body. You know, all these years I've been doing it and not weighing. So maybe I just actually, you know, can't handle all that fat.
Can I have another snack?
Maybe in a minute. So I ended up even that day eating like ridiculous meatballs and cry no more brownies. You know, I had a lot of fat. And so to get on the scale that morning and the next morning and see that I had lost a pound, I was just shocked. So that gave me the motivation to do THM for another day, and then get on the scale, and I had lost some more. And so this went on, you know, I wasn't losing every day, but hold on, quiet. So, and I eventually, over the course of 3 months, lost 15 pounds. And I was just in utter, you know, shock that really God had helped me to do that. And anyway, I hit January of 2017, and I finally hit a stall, and I had about 5 more pounds I wanted to lose, and I just couldn't, they wouldn't come off. And I felt kind of back in that same pattern that I was in for like those 3.5 years, and it was really frustrating. And so so eventually, after about 5 months, I figured out something. I changed, and again, just asking God to help me, finally was able to lose those 5 pounds. So you'll have to check out my other video that explains how I got past that stall. But I am just so grateful that to finally have hit goal weight just a couple weeks ago. And I just cannot believe that I finally got to that point. And I just give God all the glory, because as you know, I couldn't have done it in my own strength. And so I see 3 factors that God used to help me finally lose those 20 pounds. And one is I found out I had an underlying health issue. That was a thyroid thing. It's not a normal thyroid thing. It's called reverse T3, and it basically it's caused by stress, and it is something that's treatable. So once my practitioner helped, that we discovered that, then she put me on a thyroid medicine, and I was so grateful to know there wasn't an underlying health issue that does cause. It was something that prevents weight loss because it slows down your metabolism. So we figured that out. And the second factor was that I realized that there was emotional baggage that was causing me to emotional eat. And for me, God healed those things over time, and I still have times where I'm tempted to emotional eat, but I think that we can't ignore the heart when we're dealing with our weight loss journey, because if we're emotional eating, then we're kind of our own worst enemy. So I just encourage you, if you have stuff from your past, not to ignore that as a factor that might be preventing weight loss. So I'm really grateful that God helped me work through those things, and I might share that in another video, just kind of what those things were. But and then the third thing was doing Trim Healthy Mama in community. So I have 2 friends, my one friend Julie that introduced me to THM, so thank you, Julie, and my friend Allison, which I think I introduced her to THM, but maybe it was Julie, I can't remember. But the 3 of us we use an app called Boxer, and we are in conversation almost daily about all things in life, but one of the main things we talk about is Trim Healthy Mama, and we're just each other's cheerleaders, and they were really a huge encouragement for me this past year at times when I got really discouraged. And also I have a close friend here, Kelly, that was in one of my other videos, and her daughter Abby, who went off to college, but I have them to also do THM with, and Kelly and I are always looking at different recipes that we want to try, and we go in on our orders together and get stuff shipped up here to Alaska. So share the shipping, and so that having people to do Trim Healthy Mama with makes a big difference and makes it a lot more fun. So if you can find someone in your community, in your town, that is doing Trim Healthy Mama, maybe through the Facebook page, try to get connected, or even if they don't live near you, like my 2 other friends, Julie and Allison, don't live by me, but we're able to do Trim Healthy Mama together. So that is the third thing that helped, and I just really thank God for helping me to get to goal weight, and I wish you all the best on your journey, and I look forward to hearing your story of how you got to goal weight. So, feel free to comment, and thanks so much for taking time today to listen to my story, and I hope you didn't mind little one, because that's just part of my way of doing THM is I've got a family and kids, and so thanks for tuning in today.